Hi, good morning, guys, and welcome to the third edition of the Pop and Wrestling Podcast with me, Coach 23. It's a great day. It's a sunny day today, so it's a great day. Hopefully, everyone is safe. So lot of things to unpack right now. Hopefully, everyone is okay, like I said, and good morning. So, yeah, Raw has finally come back to its old roots since 2012 when it became a full-time 3-hour show. Now it's back to 2 hours, and as expected, it's a fast-paced show. Uh, there's one comment that about the first match, which was the Intercontinental Championship match between Jey Uso against Xavier Woods, and someone asked on one of the boards that I'm actually part of, is this WWE speed? Because that's how fast it was. But yeah, it is okay. It's an okay match, but yeah, lots to unpack. So opening segment, CM Punk saying a little bit of goodbye for the meantime. I believe this is a business decision between both WWE and CM Punk himself, of taking their time and not making him a full time wrestler. Yeah, he's a full time wrestler, but he becomes an attraction now compared to his former employer before WWE, before returning to WWE last year, that he was treated like an indie wrestler, a real full time wrestler, and it broke his body down. So this is a good thing for CM Punk to do, and both WWE, to create um that anticipation of his return, of when. Could be Survivor Series again. Could be Royal Rumble next year. Who knows? But for me, it's the best way for Punk to heal is take his time off. The past 10 months of him being injured, coming back to full time at SummerSlam, Bash in Berlin, Bad Blood. I think it's time for him to take a rest. And, he's not getting younger. He's 45 years old. He really needs to take his time now. And before he say goodbye fully, Seth freaking Rollins returns. They have this face-to-face interaction, tension. I still believe that as long as both of these guys are healthy, they will be facing each other at WrestleMania next year. Hopefully, the main event. Who knows? I don't know. But both men deserve to be main events, especially CM Punk, because that's one of the things. Right now, he said it is not griping, but of course, in the back of his mind, he still won it. Seth Rollins did it last year, although it's a tag team main event. But a main event between these two is 90%, 99% expected. Seth Rollins came back, challenges Big Bronson Reed, who's not there because of resting the injuries that they had with their match with between him and Braun Strowman last week. Uh, Prediction wise, my opinion, he returns next week and tell them probably they will be facing each other at Crown Jewel instead of a normal Monday Night Raw show. So that's it. Then yeah, like I said, first match, opening match was the IC title match between main event Jey Uso defending against Xavier Woods. It's a good TV match. The Usos and New Day have excellent or great chemistry, especially back then, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago when they were competing for the tag team championship. They even have a Hell in a Cell tag team match, and they have great chemistry. But that's the thing. They were a little bit younger back then. They're a bit older now, but the chemistry is still there, and it was a good TV match. Xavier Wood has like 80, 90%, in control of the match between, but he made a mistake. Super kicks, Uso splash, 1, 2, 3, and main event Jey Uso retains the Intercontinental Championship, which my little Umaga is holding. Then afterwards, surprise, surprise. After 1 week of being a babyface, he turned heel Braun Braun Breaker attack all parties involved. Kofi Kingston was there. Uh, Braun Breaker surprised Jay with a spear out of nowhere. Then Kofi Kingston's, convincing Saber Woods to help him, save him, and he did. He tried, but the Trouble in Paradise was countered, and he got a spear for his effort. And then that big, high in the sky shot with Braun Breaker running around the ring and spearing Xavier Woods was also a thing of beauty. And next week it was scheduled now that was made official by Adam Pearce that next week it will be Kofi Kingston versus Braun Breaker in a one-on-one match. Next, I want to comment about Joe Tessitore. He's actually growing on me. Even when he speaks like in a mellow tone, he adds that sports element on him. And one of the things I'm surprised about him, I know he's someone is actually speaking in, to him on his headset, but he knows the moves, the finishers, the spears, trouble in paradise, and that's really surprising compared to his predecessors beside Michael Cole. Predecessors like Mike Rome, Todd Phillips before them. Or like they have their Jimmy Smiths, I believe. They have Mike Adamley who have no idea what they're doing. But I guess this is part of the Triple H era or the Paul Levesque era of having the announcers themselves, the ringside announcers, that to have that personality of how they to deal things. I mean, Michael Cole exudes emotions as well as with Corey Graves. Joe Tessitore is actually, like I said, growing on me, and he's really doing a nice job with Wade Barrett. Their exchanges are really really funny at times. It's just the trying hard for the Yeet part is actually weird, but as far as him, telling a story, he really knows how to do it. It's really 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 impressive for a short for like a month that he's been there. So good job, Joe. Tess, as they call him. Another surprise thing is Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw. Didn't answer the question about regarding the attack or the incident that happened after Bad Blood between him and Kevin Owens, and he said that he was just there to see the main event, whether it's Gunther or Sami Zayn, because it's actually I believe now official that they'll be facing Cody Rhodes is official of facing the other champion from Monday Night Raw uh for the crown jewel championship for the men's division. So that's why he's there. He has actually sporting like a band aid on a scar in his nose, in the bridge of his nose. And there is actually weird that happened in Raw. There are like a few technical issues, like screens are freezing, cues are not being on the spot. It's just really weird for me. But I guess 2 hours. Like I said, a 2 hour show. I'll give my 2 cents a bit later about the difference between myself or my opinion about being a 2 hour show or 3 hour show. But the technical issues was a bit glaring earlier, so hopefully next week it will be different. And afterwards, the good old fashioned Donnybrook match between Sheamus and Brawling Brute's brother. Um, Pete Dunne. I don't want to call him Butch. He scares me. Although I hate his wrestling gear. His wrestling types look like the Miss Marvel of old costume from the Marvel comics. So it's like please have a part of the singlet to be on your leg. The one which just like like a one piece bikini suit's really really weird for me. Even with his personality being a tough guy. But yeah, it's actually an entertaining match. They used everything at their disposal. Shillelagh is broken. Uh, Pete Dunne used this cricket bat. They use tables. They use a drawer. They use zip locks, tables. That white noise from the barrels to the table was wow. But it was actually for me in a weird way. It's just a little bit AEW booking because what happened was like after the white noise at table, Sheamus placed Pete Dunne back to the ring. He hit him with like his high knee, then a razor's edge or high cross. I believe the name of Sheamus' version of the razor's edge, and Pete Dunne still kicked out. So I know Sheamus' finisher is really the bro kick, but it was weird because he used like three straight like signature moves, and Pete Dunne still kicked out. And Sheamus won. It doesn't matter to me whoever wins. I believe if Pete Dunne won, he's the right man that won. If Sheamus won, and he's the right person to win as well. I don't know what's next afterwards. I believe this is like the payoff match between the two. I don't know, but it's a hard hitting, and for me, this is like a raw match for me, raw match of the year candidate because of hard hitting and entertaining it was, and Sheamus winning with a bro kick with his hands zip locked or zip tied between on his back. It's really impressive as well. But yeah, good kudos to those two. Then we saw a backstage segment between The Miz and Karrion Cross. And while they're speaking, Wyatt Six graphic appeared. So I'm I'm all in with a Wyatt Six versus Final Testament feud. As long as it elevates the Final Testament. I'm a fan of Karrion Cross, especially during his TNA and sorry, Impact days because it wasn't TNA then. Impact days and as Killer Cross, and in NXT as Cryon Cross. He got just injured that shortened his run or the run to top at NXT, but he was really impressive there. I don't know what happened. Maybe the old chairman's uh personality of Karen Cross even wore like a gladiator uh outfit during his run during the pandemic. It was really weird. It's not really him. So I guess that maybe broke down his confidence a little bit, but hopefully it gets back. And right now, like I said, I'm all for a Wyatt Six versus Final Testament feud. I don't think they're targeting Miz because if ever that Miz is targeted, probably Final Testament should be included in that line of groups because you have Karrion Cross, Authors of Pain. Those are the three wrestlers in. Well, Bordeaux is also a wrestler for the female one. So Nikki Cross versus her. So Miz, I believe Miz can be a part of the Final Testament as well because you have Uncle Howdy, you got Joe Gacy, you have Eric Rowan, you have um I forgot his name. He's one of my favorites, and I forgot his name. Loomis, Dexter Loomis. Yeah, 41. Sorry, guys. I know my energy is kind of low. Came from a shift last night. Shift, work shift, not not different that word. Yeah. So energy is kind of low. Trying to be awake as possible. I have to give my son a bath after this podcast. Yeah. So I'm telling you guys my thing today. Maybe I can rest a bit. So yeah, afterwards, yeah, I'm all for that. Um, I'm really looking forward for it. And also next week scheduled Miz Awesome Truth will face each other. So it's the Miz versus R Truth. So maybe if the White Six are targeting the Miz, so this might be entering the Final Testament entering the feud as well. But I'm all for it. Then afterwards, I won't say this is a bathroom break. I have too much respect on women, especially the wrestlers right now. So there's a 10 woman tag team match. So it's Pure Fusion Collective and the Unholy Alliance versus the team of Caden Carter and Katana Chance, or I believe I messed up their names, Natalia, Selena Vega, and Lyra Valkyria. Long story short, the good guys, good girls win. The baby faces won. It's kind of filler show for a 2 hour show. It was I was surprised that it was part of it even. But like I said, this is a difference between a 2 hour and 3 hour show. How the pacing is. Then, of course, we go down to the main event. World Heavyweight Champion Gunther defending the championship against Sami Zayn in a WrestleMania rematch. And this is actually a good, not just a good TV match, this is a great match. And it clocked like under 15 minutes, if my math is correct. And I like it even more compared to their match at WrestleMania. Um, their chemistry is right there. It kind of reminded me of the old, during the 90s. If you can YouTube, watch it on YouTube or whatever streaming sites you're following or watching or subscribe to, old Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels type match. It's really not just your typical big guy versus little guy wrestler. It's really, really impressive. Gunther continues to impress me as an old fan. I believe I'm older than Gunther. So I've seen, guys like him before. And I'm not going to name names, but his character, his wrestling skills are already there. Um, for me, he is this generation's Samoa Joe. If you saw Samoa Joe during the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006, 2007, during his X Division run in TNA, his Ring of Honor World Championship run, he is that good. And Gunther even started when he's like a burly guy, and now he is a really, really fit dude. So, and the way he sold to Sammy was really, 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 really impressive. Especially when he clotheslined Sammy, or I believe he power bombed Sammy during the latter part, and Sammy kicked out at one, and his face was like, that was really a money shot. Um, I can watch any match or every match of these two and say that there are differences between matches. And one of the things that's impressive about Gunther, he doesn't have a specific fixed finisher. He uses a power bomb. Sometimes he uses the chop. Sometimes he uses a clothesline or a lariat as a splash from the top rope and the rear naked choke. So all those things are just not even unique. Those are fundamentals or generic wrestling moves, and he uses them as his finisher. So that's how good Gunther is. And of course, um, if you are a wrestling fan for a long time like me, and you saw the headlines or the main event is Gunther versus Sami Zayn on a Monday Night Raw, you know that you have to predict that Gunther wins, and he did via rear naked choke. Sami didn't tapped out; he passed out from the rear naked choke that the sleeper hold that Gunther used, and then afterwards, while he was celebrating on the entrance ramp, Cody Rhodes appears and they have a stare down. So I believe it's official now that at Crown Jewel on November 2, which is November 3 here in Manila at 1 a.m. definitely, or maybe 2 a.m. because it depends. I don't know when will the U.S. Daylight Savings Times end. So if it's 1 a.m. if it ends, but at the same time it might be 2 a.m. here in Manila for Crown Jewels. So it's WWE champion Cody Rhodes takes on World Heavyweight champion Gunther for the inaugural Crown Jewel Championship for men. I don't know for the women, so who knows if Liv or Nia defends the titles within the next 3 weeks. But that's actually a good match as well. So that's it for the Raw review. Now, a little sidebar of the 2 hour, 3 hour show, which I do prefer. I prefer the 3 hour show for some reason because it showcases more talent. People say it's long, it drags. Um, so there are times that main event should be, part of. For example, if the Gunther versus Sami Zayn match happened in a 3 hour show, it should happen in the second hour instead because in the US the ratings still matters in some business. And but that's it. A 3 hour show you can showcase more. You can produce more segment. You can have longer matches. I mean, if you give me Jey Uso versus Xavier Woods, give it to me for like 15-minute match and not just like a 10-minute squash match or normal match. for Jay and Xavier Woods. I mean, it showcases more personality for Woods. Showcases more dominance for Jay, and you don't need to rush things. So I prefer the 3 hour show, but it really depends. I mean, NXT is doing a great banged up job in terms of doing a 2 hour show because what I believe Shawn Michaels, even in my review or analysis, in my opinion, Shawn Michaels will promote one specific program on this day, on this week. Next week it will be a different. But of course, the main event sticks. The NXT Championship is there, but North American champion will not. Next week, North American champion will be produced or promoted, and the other weekend then is next. So it really depends. That's actually the hang up. But as Triple H, Paul Levesque said during the post press conference in Bad Blood, he doesn't have a clue. I believe he does, but he just doesn't want to share whether Raw will be a 2 hour or 3 hour show in Netflix next week, or I'm sorry, next year, after Raw's stint with the USA Network. Imagine Raw or WWE is getting paid like between 25 to 35 million between now until December for Raw. Fun fact: when Monday Night Raw and WWE left Viacom last 2005, and they returned to the USA Network, they signed a 3-year deal with the USA Network for $30 million a year per year. So it's 90 million in span of 3 years, and they're getting paid 25 to 35 million between October to December. That's how the business of WWE and Monday Night Raw grew. Even if their ratings are, people are saying their ratings are tanking. It's not their 6 million viewers during the 1998 Attitude Era. Different time and different age, different set of values, folks. So kudos to WWE. Can't wait for Raw on Netflix. I don't know. I have no idea whether Netflix Asia will be getting that, because according to the business people, business journalists in the US, that aside from Netflix acquiring Monday Night Raw, they're acquiring the international programming of WWE. But they mentioned Canada, United Kingdom, South America, Latin America, Brazil. That those are the area that they mentioned. They didn't mention Asia. And I have my co-admins, a couple of our members in our pro wrestling Pinas Facebook page of what's going to happen here. Right now, Tap Sports, which you can where you can see Raw, NXT, and SmackDown live. Even they're doing a bang up job of promoting the Tap Sport channel. Whether if you're a Converge user, it's free on Blast TV. Signal, I believe it's part of their cable package. Uh, WWE PLEs and documentary and other WWE network programming, you can see it on Disney Plus. And right now they're approved. Although the downside of them of the for the Disney Plus PLE shows, WWE shows, they're no longer saving it for replay. So if you want to watch a WWE PLE live at Disney Plus, you have to watch it live, and there's no more replay. I believe the replays ended Elimination Chamber this year or Royal Rumble. Um, so there's no news. I have a bit of an idea because I have a couple of friends working in the industry, but I cannot disclose any information because if I do, and somebody said that it might happen, I know it might get back to me, and I don't want to get sued or whatever. It's a secret. So yeah, just keep our hopes up. But if you ask me, I prefer the WWE package on Netflix. I don't get me wrong. I'm a subscriber of Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon or Prime Video, Blast TV, HBO Go. I still have. So those are my streaming sites that I still follow, and I do suggest you guys legally subscribe to those instead of legally downloading stuff. I know we have all of our preferences. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I used to do that, or I might doing it. I might not, but I'm still paying for those streaming sites because I'd rather do personal choice. So that's it. And next topic on our podcast today is peeling the curtain. So what's peeling the curtain? As a wrestling fan for 37, 38 years, almost 4 decades, and I understand this generation, the Gen Z, Gen Zers generation. You have a short attention span. I'm not insulting you. It's my opinion on you guys. I have a kid who's 16 years old, so it's part of your generation. But don't take wrestling seriously. Don't. It's just wrestling. Um, it's weird when people say, "Oh, we don't want, we want everything kayfabe in WWE or pro wrestling, whether it's wrestling, WWE, AEW. We want kayfabe still. We don't want backstage We want the backstage, thing, showing on camera or whatnot. But you are still also the people that when you see an Avengers movie, you want to see the gag reel, the bloopers. So those are, the behind the scenes. WWE is doing a bang up job. Of course, when people say, it's more pro WWE when they're doing their documentaries, and that's actually true. Of course, why would they promote a negative side of them of their show? They want everything to be positive as much as possible. Um, if ever that they're like have a negative thing or negative issue that they want to show, they show it on the biographies or WWE Legends or biography for A&E. They did it with the Macho Man biography, the Ultimate Warrior story, and among other things, Jake the Snake. They actually do a negative also a negative part of their aspect of their businesses aside from the chairman, which we'll talk most probably Friday when we do the Mr. McMahon review or from next documentary from Netflix. Um, don't take wrestling seriously. It's just wrestling, man. It's like you're saying the Civil War, Captain America Civil War, is the actual Civil War in the U.S. No, it's not. Um, you can have your suspension of disbelief. I've been a fan. I keep mentioning I've been a fan for almost 4 decades, and I will tell you something. When Cody Rhodes won at WrestleMania this year, WrestleMania Sunday, I literally had a tear because I got emotional because I was invested on the match and the storyline. But not to the extent that, oh, it should be like this or should be like that. No. Come on, guys. You have to be smart now. Not a mark or a mark or don't call your mark. A mark is weird because if you said I like Seth Rollins, I just like Seth Rollins. That's it. No, you have to like everyone. Seth Rollins can wrestle. Yeah, sure. Seth Rollins a great wrestler can probably wrestle a broom and make it a wrestling classic. But still, it takes two or three or four or five or six to tango or 30 for Royal Rumble. Um, I do suggest you guys keep watching those documentaries, whether it's on YouTube or, like I said, whatever streaming platform that you're using. I do suggest you guys watch if you have Disney Plus on your as your streaming partner or streaming subscriber or subscription. I'm sorry. Watch a future WWE FCW story. It's one of the best documentary that I've seen from WWE, and it showcased FCW Dusty Rhodes' ascension to the creative or the talent development transition from FCW to NXT. It's a great, great documentary. It's one of my favorites that I've seen ever because it showcased, how Roman Reigns got, confident. Sasha Banks at the time, Bailey, Seth Rollins, that was there, and it showcased how they were like not comfortable in talking in public, but promo class is important, and it teach them how to grow their personalities and their even characters. So read books as well, autobiographies of wrestler. If you're going to ask me which book you should read all. But if you're going to start, read Mick Foley's book, the first book, Have a Nice Day, Tale of Blood, Sweat, and Sweat Socks. It's a great, great autobiography. Then you can read Chris Jericho's books as well because it will give you like an idea of how wrestler really works, how the mind of a wrestler works in terms of creative, their personalities, how to build matches, how they handle their business backstage. Those are those really will really open your eyes in terms of how to be fans. I'm not saying that you are wrong, that you're the wrong type of fans. It's just, some of the message board that we're reading, we're like, you're too emotionally invested. It's okay to be emotionally invested, but on a certain level. Uh, like for me, when Cody Rhodes lost last year, WrestleMania 39 to Roman Reigns, I want Cody Rhodes to win because it's a storybook ending, but he lost. And I'm like, oh, he lost. Darn. Shucks. I cannot curse. It's alive. I don't want to get flagged by YouTube. So, but I was like thinking WrestleMania 40 he will be definitely winning because they will tell an even better story between WrestleMania 39 to WrestleMania 40. And they did. Exceeded everyone's expectations, even mine. Um, that's how big I. Here's a story. I didn't call my mom or my dad or my grandma at the time, but around when I was like four, no, not four, 5, 6 years old, I punched someone in the head. A classmate of mine who's like as old as I am. Because when I was called to the guidance counselor, why did you punch your classmate? I saw Hulk Hogan did that or do it. Then my taekwondo coach at the time, when I was still training for taekwondo at the time, I was like 5 or 6 years old. He said wrestling is scripted. He didn't say it was fake. He said it was scripted. It's like when you saw Jackie Chan punch a guy in the movie, it's not really connecting. There might be accident, but it's not really connecting. They're pulling their punches. So ooh. So at a young age, at 5, 6, 7 years old, I already know that wrestling is predetermined and storyline based, and it's like a movie. It's not really the things that hurt. Now people are bashing CM Punk. Ryback is bashing CM Punk for being reckless, for hitting Drew McIntyre in the head into the toolbox last Bad Blood. But I believe it's actually not reckless because I believe they put that spot on the match. Drew might probably agree that okay, let's add that toolbox spot, and they did. Now it's an accident that it's a gash, but yeah, accidents do happen. Wrestling is not ballet. It happens. But like I said, they are not WWE, AEW, or maybe AEW in an extent for some reason. WWE doesn't pretend that there are a real fight. They are athletes and they're on a predetermined specific area. They're not really there to to kill each other. Even UFC is actually copying, or even boxing back then is copying a lot of things about the wrestling. The how they introduce boxers or UFC, or how they hype a match, or what's the entrance song will be. It all came from wrestling, from pro wrestling. And afterwards, if you know a good guy like Alex Pereira versus Roundtree or last Saturday. Of course, they're trash talking before the fight. Then afterwards, they're just hugging each other, shaking hands, because it's all work. It's all a work. It's not really it's their job to do that. So that's my opinion, and that's my advice to some people, especially the Gen Z generation. It's just not just resting. Don't take things seriously in life. It's okay to take seriously on what you do. For example, if you want to be good in your studies, be serious about it, but don't take life seriously. Because if you take it seriously, because and you want to achieve something and you want to be positive at that I'll be getting a top one, or I'll be top one in my class, and you just became top two, you'll get depressed, you'll get sad. Most of the generations right now are like that. Oh, I didn't get top one, but it's fine. That's fine. You can do it somewhere else. You can do it sometimes. The next time. Life doesn't end with it. And so they don't take things seriously. Take what you do seriously, but don't take things seriously in life, and especially in wrestling, because it's just wrestling, folks. Enjoy it. Enjoy the storylines. Enjoy the matches if it suits you better. That's it. That's the best advice I can give you in terms of peeling the curtain. Read books, read the autobiographies. You can buy it like in a book sale. Shout out book sale, national bookstores, power books, fully book, any bookstores that have wrestling autobiographies. You can read those. You can even do it online. You can do it even in Wikipedia. And yeah, watch a lot of documentaries and see the life of the wrestler, not as the wrestler but as the person of what they really are, you know, behind the curtain, or behind their characters. So yeah, that's it, kids, and some of you are kids, but yeah, still respect you guys. I mean, I have a 16-year-old, I have an 11-year-old, I have a 6-year-old, and I have a 1-year-old boy. So those are part of your generations, and I'm trying to be, in tune or in sync with them. So okay, our last topic, I typed it in because this is the pop culture or life in general as well, part of the podcast since we're doing wrestling, pop culture, and life in general. Being a collector, and this is not collector of the Indians if you have debt. No, this is a collector of if you're a collection of some things. For me, I collect of obviously action figures. I'll move my laptop, so those are some of my action figures. Those are vintage GI Joes. I have a Halo action figure, Halo vehicles, GI Joes, Star Wars. I have Din or Mandalorian, Grogu even. And of course, I have the WWE title here. I have Umaga. Up in the double deck of my bed, my Justice League Marvel figures are there. On this storage are DC graphic novels or comic books. Downstairs, I have a similar storage area or a similar storage box with Marvel graphic novels. Graphic novels are the thick books, um, collection of stories from Marvel and DC, and I should be proud of it. But I have friends, even Facebook friends, that have more than me. I have like, if I'm going to count my action figures, I have like 150 action figures. I have 150 graphic novels, but it's not much compared to my Facebook friends who are obviously richer than me, more money than me. But aside from taking care of my wife and my kids, my family, this is one of the things that actually makes me happy or keep me sane. But there are actually part of being a collector that has to be taken into consideration. That's the first part is what I've said, taking care of your family, making them happy, fed them, clothe them, or put clothes in their back, have a roof on their head, give them their needs and wants before you, as yourself as a collector, do this. But that's the thing. Here's a funny thing. I tried drinking when I was in high school or college. I didn't like it, so I stopped. I abstained. Never smoked. Never did drugs, so don't. CM Punk is straight edge, but he has tattoos. I believe that's the thing. He has tattoos, and that makes him straight edge because he doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs. So I guess that just makes me straight. Inside joke. So, but that's the thing. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. This is my only thing that keeps me sane, as I said, aside from making my kids or having my kids, my wife love me, or loving my wife, loving my kids. This is the one actually keeps me sane. Um, it's cathartic. You know, look at the dictionary, read what cathartic means. But for me, this keeps me relaxed, and in a way, It's what I enjoy. I when I was a kid, I have a lot of toys and comic books as well, but I wasn't a collector. I was a guy or a kid playing with toys, reading his books. Um, so I messed it up. My dad, which I hate until not I hate my dad, I hate what he did at the time. I used to have a Voltron robot, this big, like a vintage robot. I have like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures, Ghostbusters, GI Joe, even Transformers. There's this cartoon called Mask, which have their vehicles like transform to a different variety of vehicles. Like it's a car turned to an airplane, turns to an airplane. I completed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. I have Shredder, I have Krang, I have Foot Soldiers, I have the Turtle Van, I have the Turtle Blimp, and my dad just gave it away to some of his friends' kids, and I lost everything. Sad. And I'm sad until now because if I have those vintage toys, just show it to like an investor, I could be selling a toy store, I could be having my toy store right now. Because some of the toy stores or toy owners right now, that's what they are telling. We had these old toys, we presented it to investors, and this is how we're going to do our business. And now I am sad because I lost all those toys. Then, come 2008, I lost track. Like I said, as I told you, episode one, if you go to the TikTok page of Prod and Wrestling Podcast, TikTok page, I lost touch in, graphic novels during the late 90s and even the toys. But wrestling was still part of my life. Um, 2008, I found out I'm going to be a dad. My wife or my girlfriend back then, my wife now, was pregnant or is pregnant with my kid, my firstborn son. And in the back of my mind, how I was when I was a kid. Uh, for some reason, it was for me, not just for my son. It was for me. So what I did is I came back to collecting. Now collecting or buying comic books or graphic novels. First graphic novels that you know came to me, I will be doing a comic book, graphic novel review or opinion given, promote some of you guys to read. First two stories that brought me back to reading comic books was a comic book called Batman Hush. Introduced a new villain called Hush. Story was really, 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 really great. It was actually my favorite or one of my favorite top three Batman storylines ever. Then I started collecting vintage GI Joes again because that's how I feel was when I was a kid. I don't want to grow old being old, bitter. I mean I'm overworked. As you guys, as I told you guys or you guys know, I worked in the BPO industry for 15 years, 16 years. Working there is really, really taxing and toxic in some other ways. So this really just keeps me sane in a way. What did I do? I want to remain fresh and young. Could be young at heart, could be young here. Who knows? I'm not immature. I'm childish, but I'm not immature. There's a difference, guys. So that's what I did. I started collecting again. Supposedly, my plan was just collecting GI Joes. Then I found out, ooh, DC has good action figures as well. By DC, Marvel's doing great action figures. By Marvel. But yeah, graphic novels I'm collecting a lot. Still now, still will be. I don't know when will I stop. If my wife will be seeing this podcast, might kill me. I don't know, but here's the thing: never ask, never, ever, ever, ever ask a family member for money just to buy your collections. If you want to buy your collections, if you don't have a job, save your money. Whether this is not just for toy comic book collections, everything, shoes or sneakers, jerseys, sports jerseys. But the Batista is even collecting lunch boxes, classic one, vintage one. So he has his own. He's rich though. He's a millionaire. But don't ask. Never, ever, 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 ever ask someone for money just to buy your collections. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself and do it to yourself and do it because you want to do it. It's not their responsibility on your collect for your collections. It's yours. I even teased my wife, knock on wood. I don't have a wood. Oh, here. That if I leave this world, they can sell my collections. And I have to do an inventory of them, how much that I believe their value is, and they can sell it when I die. Because that's actually, it's not a sound strategy for investment, but still a strategy for investment. I believe if I sell all my toys, the value will be by, I believe, 60 to 70,000 pesos. But if I sell it to like a toy store or a toy collector as well, it will just 50, 40, and still a money for me. It's still part of your investment. Even the graphic novels. This belt has a story. Also, if you're being a collector, don't spend a lot. Be smart in buying toys. I know some are businessmen. And I have, if somebody will be watching this, if ever, there's some of the toys are being expensive, sure, but of course it's business. But as much as possible that you can, negotiate of how much, then you know how to to buy, um, and still sell it in double, at least double the value. Now here's a story about this WWE title. It's not really the adult size belt. It's actually, umaga, excuse me. It's actually for the toy, for the kids belt. See, it's that small. It's the kids version. But if you buy it in original price, it costs around, I don't know, 1.5, 2,000 pesos still. You know how much I bought it? I bought it for 700 pesos from our neighbor. How did I do it? One of my neighbor's business is they're buying or buying sacks of undelivered items for like they're buying it for like 500, 1,000 pesos. I don't know. And of course, whatever items that's there on the undelivered items, they're selling it. They're trying to sell this belt for like 1,000 to 900, and I negotiated. Can I buy it? Sell it to me. I'll buy it for 700 cash. And she said yes, and now I have a toy belt. It's my first uh real life size, or not real life size, but big size belt, and now it's mine ever. So be smart in collecting. Put your heart to it as well. It's like me doing this podcast. I don't care. I don't mind if there's only one person watching, two-person, three-person, four-person liking it. If it's, it grows, it grows. And I'm on episode 3. One of the podcasters that I dislike said that, oh, you stop at episode 2. Some, because a podcaster tried doing it, stop at episode 2. I believe they have more even viewers than I am, but I'm still here. Give me 1 second. I'm just helping my kid. So I helped my kid. Sorry. So I'm here, episode 3, and for that, before we close out, that's that's it. Put your heart into your collections. Put to heart in what you do. There's a difference of putting your heart in what you do and being serious, doing it seriously, or being serious about it. There's a big difference. So yeah, as Rao, before we close out, I have to give a shout out to a couple of my friends in Pro Wrestling Pinas, my co-admins, Gare, Lehi, Dre, J-Pat, Sarmil, Brandon. Uh, Thank you guys for being supportive, for liking my videos on both TikTok and in YouTube. Like I said, I'm still kind of lazy. I might learn a few tricks maybe during the weekend because I'll be off the weekend. I'll be not doing a podcast. Maybe probably just Saturday or maybe Sunday. I don't know. Maybe both. But we're still going to do. We're going to have episode 4 tomorrow. As of episode 5 on Thursday and episode 6 on Friday for topics. But tomorrow it will be Wednesday. So it will be NXT review and among other topics. I'll post it on the Pro Wrestling Pinas page and group chat. Follow our page. Follow my page at in Facebook Pro Wrestling sorry, Pop and Wrestling Podcast in Facebook. The picture is a luchador mask, as well as in Instagram Pop and Wrestling Podcast. TikTok, same name as well, Pop and Wrestling Podcast. But I'll be uploading, try to splice the videos from YouTube and upload it on TikTok within the next few days, hopefully. If I know how to edit, I don't know. That's why I'm doing live, because I have no clue what I'm doing. I just like to talk and share my opinion about things and talk shoot. Yeah. So that's it for me. Shout out, guys, who follow our page in Pro Wrestling Pinas on Facebook again. And hopefully, you guys like the podcast. Subscribe, like the page, like the video. I'll try to open up the comment section. I don't know how to, but I'll try. When I do, you can leave your comments, criticism, whatever, as long as you don't hate my kids. Don't say things negative about my kids and my family. We're all good. Say bad things about me, then that's fine. So again, this is Pop and Wrestling Podcast with me. It's me, it's Coach 23. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.